Alright guys, Kremp again today. Hope you're doing well and enjoying your day so far. One of the big questions of the upcoming season, who's going to be the MVP at the end of it? And certainly from OpTic Texas, there are a good couple of candidates. Dashy and Shotzzy most certainly come to mind, and while Dashy from an AR perspective has looked like one of the absolute best in the league so far, he reckons that Shotzzy is playing the game on a completely different level, and maybe he is the MVP candidate going into the entirety of the rest of the season. Of course, who wins it will to some degree depend on the results of the teams this year. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always. I greatly appreciate it. We're going to talk a little bit more about this in a second, but unfortunately, for some reason in this game, the Hacienda glitch still exists. Takes ages to do it, to be fair. But yeah, this glitch that Octane has been using here on Hacienda now for some time, they've not fixed it yet, but as he gets up to the top here, he actually gets kicked through inactivity. So maybe that's the solution there that Treyarch are seemingly working on. But speaking of Treyarch, speaking of Activision, this has been causing quite a lot of controversy over the last few days, right? Because the game, we know, is fundamentally broken on some level. Shotzy's talked about it, Scump's talked about it. You know, basically all the players are either quitting the game or, you know, cheaters, hackers, various issues. Servers, Nadeshot made very clear is a problem as well. And yet, instead, their time and money is spent on this. Now, I don't blame them necessarily, right? I guess it's a cool partnership, but it's just one of those things that's going to annoy COD fans when there's a partnership which, you know, first of all, they're trying to make money out of. Obviously, that's the point of all these things. And, you know, maybe that's too much money. Some people would certainly argue, even TJHaLy Intel makes this point here in a second, and maybe there are and could be some other priorities. So, you know, this has been talked about over the last few days, this Call of Duty Squid Game thing, and I think that the update is free, but of course you can spend extra money here to purchase them, right? So, you know, it's classic Call of Duty stuff, and I know that Chrome was given his perspective on it as well, and even TJHaLy Intel, like, you know, they're not holding back at all at the moment as well, and even Dashy was kind of clocking into this and says, hey guys, you know, there's cheaters that are running your game daily on your video game, by the way, like, you know, do we want to do anything about that? And he says, or get this guy Ryan says, catching a fine today. Dashy's like, they don't even know I exist. I don't know what you're talking about. They have no idea about any of these guys. Of course, it really shouldn't be like this, but I don't think Dashy's necessarily wrong. Like, the Call of Duty developers, the guys that run the show over there, do they, you know, is the Call of Duty League or any of those problems in competitive play and ranked or anything even anywhere on their radar? I don't really think so. But, you know, it affects the game from the top down and from the bottom up as well. So Dashy's given his thoughts, and obviously Ghosty was in the replies and says, I just had to fill them in and make sure the developers are aware of this because I'm sure the holiday break took a minute. So, you know, they relaxed, right? And now they're back in business, the developers. So Dashy's making sure his thoughts are known. But yeah, it's a massive problem. We know that everyone's been talking about it over the last few days. I thought this was quite interesting as well from the Ghost of Hope. Whether you think he's right or not, that's, you know, matter for debate. But we know that Treyarch have not exactly delivered the game this year that they may have done a few years ago. And I think fundamentally the reason for this is many of the developers that used to be there, that used to run the show 10 years ago, they're just not there anymore. Like, the guys that made the games that we all loved, mainly speaking anyway, most of us loved. I know that I speak to lots of people about, like, who played Call of Duty casually over the years. They hated the jetpack games and still do. And fair enough, I understand it. Personally, I don't understand it, but you know what I'm saying. Like, the games that we generally enjoyed and considered to be the best times in COD. Black Ops 2, even pre-Black Ops 2, you know, some people would talk about COD 4, Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3. Then maybe some of us slightly more recently will talk about, you know, BO3 and some of the jetpack games, and even up to, like, BO4 and stuff like that before it really went downhill. And I guess it is true, Vonderhaar, Tony Flame, lots of those guys are simply not there anymore as developers of these teams, and whether they've been able to really replace those guys. The Treyarch game here in Black Ops 6 still feels a bit like a Treyarch game, but it doesn't feel like what it used to, in my opinion. And TJHaLy Intel even are just saying, like, Activision have lost the plot on this. $70 base game, then you've got basically the season bundles, the battle passes, the event passes, and all this stuff, and you've got to pay all this money to get no anti-cheat in a broken game. So fantastic stuff. And TJHaLy Intel say that they don't even get invited to the things anymore, and Ghost of Hope says they literally don't care. They're working on next year's game and shoving a bunch of microtransactions in it, and TJHaLy Intel say that the Sledgehammer guys would actually listen to us, but there's been nothing about Black Ops 6 for any sort of feedback. And Ghost of Hope says, yeah, that's Sledgehammer. Like, maybe now the torch has been passed from Treyarch as, you know, the king of the devs, as it were, from a competitive point of view, to Sledgehammer. And I think, honestly, even in Vanguard, we saw that there's been more interest from Sledgehammer in making a good competitive product than there has been from Treyarch. And, you know, this is his point anyway, that they're just going to focus on the new game and Treyarch aren't what they used to be. And to be fair, if you look back at the maps they designed this year compared to previous years, it is night and day. I'm not sure this is exactly the map set that I would put together, but obviously people were talking about it yesterday. If you had to design your perfect Treyarch CDL map set, what would it look like? Now, I would personally have Raid in for more of the modes, and I'd have Stronghold in for more of the modes, because that's like my favorite map of all time. And obviously you've got to consider like movement mechanics and stuff, because Redwood, I guess, is playable without jetpacks, but it obviously wouldn't be the same map precisely. So that's why there's probably quite a lot of features here from BO4, and maybe you could argue Vault could come in here, but I don't think I'm putting any of the BO6 maps in the all-time Treyarch map set. Not even close, to be honest. Like, really. I mean, we're looking back at even maps like Express from BO2 have been eliminated here because, you know, Moscow and Standoff and Infection, loads of great maps. So much you could do with it. Garrison Control, however, was chalked, so I'm not putting that in the map set. Absolutely not. Put Raider there or something instead. But, yeah, definitely BO4 Control was pretty good. The game isn't what it used to be, and even just this is an example, right? Like, I'm not saying that they necessarily would have fixed it that much quicker, but just the idea that here's, you know, Shotzzy doing the Hacienda glitch as well. This glitch has been known about now for a very long time. I know that it's been Christmas and New Year's, but the devs could have fixed it, but they haven't. Do they really care? Like, it doesn't seem like it, to be honest. So that's what Shotzzy's been up to. And of course, Shotzzy gets up to a lot of things that us mere mortals can never really hope to replicate. And there's one more example here. Obviously, I've got a couple of funny clips to share. This, though, was just outrageous to me. Here's Shotzzy on Vault, and this is what I said the other day. There are certain things that Shotzzy knows about and shows off that we might not be aware of. We might think, oh wow, maybe Shotzzy could have saved that spot to champs, or saved that movement route until champs, or until actually, not really champs. Obviously, we're only a couple of weeks into the season, but, you know, save it for Major 1 or something. The point, I guess, is that nobody can do what Shotzzy does. It actually doesn't matter if Shotzzy reveals what he's doing, because nobody can replicate this stuff. I mean, look at this. And what are we talking about here? So the guy manages to hop up here into the top window, and then instead of taking maybe the standard route down to the A-bomb side, he goes this way instead, hops out the I mean, like, look at this. the slight strafe. I mean, you can see how he hits the little strafe here. It's just so clean, it's a joke. It's a little strafe, dolphin dive out of the window, comes down here. This guy's mind blown, gets the first kill. Second guy comes in for the trade, and Shotzzy just slides him as well and barely takes any damage. So, you know, this is just the type of clip that nobody else really on the planet, maybe HyDra, I think, like HyDra, or maybe his movement even gets underrated at times. And there's a couple of other players in the league that are good as well. But no POV looks quite like Shotzzy's POV. And this is what Dashy has to say on the situation last night.
Other one's Carnival, or Hot Tub, whatever you call that.
Carnival?
What? You can't fucking gun me! How are you pro?
I'm not gonna lie, he's gonna get checked. He's gonna get checked.
Kind of trapped here. No, he's far left.
Bro, he's getting gunned by Fatty. Oh my god. Oh my god.
Sorry, bro.
Oh, Jeff, eat this shit. Let's see him get gunned there. Wait, why is it like such a bad?
Finish the job.
They're both there. They're both there. They're both there.
Heard. Damn it, bro.
No time for moping.
Left. Dude.
But you run an A there?
Bro, it's like, it's actually world worse.
Ooh. Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah! Oh my god! Oh my fucking hello! Hello! Oh no!
I was watching Shotzzy play 1v1s against pros. Bro, this guy is insane. There's something wrong with him. I remember the very first time I watched him play was on Black Ops 4, and I'm like watching his POV, and I'm like, this is actually completely different. Like the way he like thought about the game, the way he approached the game, the way he just everything. He like his little movements, his left stick, the way he just wide. It was like everything was smooth, and it was like max efficiency, but it was also like something that we've never seen moving at Mach 5, and I'm like, how the I didn't even know you could do that. And I didn't even know you could get there. The amount of times I'm literally his team, I'm like, you could do that? Like it'll be fucking, we'll be in May, and I'm like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Good shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? You know what I think it is too? I think when also he plays, I think he also gets lost in the game in a good way. Like he actually probably thinks he's his in-game character when he's playing. When gaming to him, he goes into his little hub, and it's like he enters a new world.
Yeah.
And then I could just tell by the way he plays. I'm like, holy
I couldn't
shit.
know, but
You can genuinely try to mimic every movement, and it's impossible, which makes no sense. There could be nobody watching in the room.
it's because he's not holding the controller. The
The
controller's
control's
sitting,
holding him.
Bro,
it's just moving
bro,
on
I'm
its
telling you,
own.
the
Like,
controller's
just...
sitting on his hands. He's not.
Bro, I was watching him claw, and it wasn't like his finger was like jabbed up like this, like tang 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 tang. Like it was it was like his finger was just relaxed on the button. So.
Yeah.
So obviously he's gassing his teammates hard, right? But it's not untrue. And even Huke said the same thing the other day, that when Shotzzy came into the CoD League, or not even to the CoD League, but when he just started playing Call of Duty, and he was teaching Huke things about the game that he played every day that Huke didn't even know. And that's Huke, one of the best players, you know, we've seen across Halo and Call of Duty and stuff like that. And of course now, you know, he's been a staple feature of the league, Huke, for many a year, world champion in his own right, but with Shotzzy alongside him, notably, back in 2020. So, yeah, no one really can do what Shotzzy does, and even Dashy's making the point as well that you can try and mimic what he does, but like, good luck with it. Of course, Shotzzy is a bit different. Of course, Dashy's a very different player to Shotzzy. They both have their different strengths and weaknesses as players, and you know, I think both of them could very well be this season in that MVP conversation. But Shotzzy has got to be favourite for it, really. Going into the season, I was pretty optimistic that we might get an AR MVP this year, you know, a Scrappy, a Dashy or something, and it's still possible for sure. But as it stands, you look at the league, you look at the JackAll, you look at the way the movement goes. You know, I'm tempted to think that it's going to be an SMG MVP again, as we've seen over the last couple of years. And, well, Shotzzy is leading the case right now. But as I said at the start of the video, the actual results of the MVP discussions does depend in very large part on the actual success of the teams. How will OpTic do this year? We know that Pred is gone, Huke is back in, the Champs curse maybe has struck already or will continue to strike down in due course, who knows? But it's obviously pretty rare that a team after winning the World Championship in the previous year goes on to do that much in the next year. But of course, their roster's already different, so maybe it doesn't matter. And still, on paper, OpTic are up there with Thieves, with FaZe. Obviously, on paper, those are the top three. As the season has started, it's not so clear. But OpTic have been looking good. They will be in the conversation. And if they win a couple of events, maybe if they get close to winning the World Championship again, Shotzzy will certainly be in the mix there for that MVP, as will many other players as well. But on this specific game, it's just tough to look past that guy as it stands. But very much interested to your thoughts on all of this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care. And I'll see you next time.